Hello, I want to share some thoughts from this book, Leadership and Your Wellbeing. The purpose of this book is to help us utilize leadership to promote human dignity and well-being. For instance, as a leader, your major goal is to lead people out of their troubles. So you want to identify some threats to human well-being and find solutions or champion solutions to lead people out of these problems, out of these threats to their well-being. And that requires a lot of creativity and innovativeness. So you have to think outside the box, because you cannot solve problems with the same manner of thinking that created them, according to Albert Einstein. So if you have a group of people, you have a nation, you have a continent, and they have some challenges that threaten their well-being. They have problems with food security, sanitation, transportation, problems with their roads, with their healthcare. So they have low life expectancy, for instance, and they are behind in a lot of indicators when it comes to well-being. The assumption is that because as a man thinks, so is he. These people probably have some mindset or a manner of thinking that is causing them not to be able to get out of the problems that they find themselves in. Or they create some of these problems, but they don't have what it takes to get themselves out of these problems. So if you want to lead them out of these threats to their well-being, you cannot think exactly like them. According to Albert Einstein again, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing things the same way and expecting different results, expecting a change. So if you want to have something that you've not had before, you want to see a positive result that you've not seen before, you have to do something that you have not done before. So by all means, a leader that is interested in using some creativity, innovativeness to design solutions, to find solutions or champion solutions to lead people out of their problems is likely to be concerned about thinking outside the box. And this is why we can have two kinds of insanity. If you take two pathways, a broad way with a lot of people on this broad way, on this path, and you see everybody doing the same thing, and this road is broad, and then you see another road which is narrow, you see few people on that road. The normal way of thinking is that if you are not with the lot of people, the crowd on the broader way, you are not normal. So there's a definition of insanity, abnormal, that is characteristic of not being part of the larger population, not being part of the crowd, trying to be different from the norm, from a system. All right. And that makes sense because you have a lot of people doing the same thing, and then you are trying to do something different. You are insane. You are abnormal. Abnormal in this sense is not necessarily because you are doing something to cause harm to yourself. You are doing something negative that will lead to harm to yourself and to other people. But you are different from the crowd, different from what is popular, different from what is familiar. That is abnormal. Then we have another kind of insanity or being abnormal, described by Albert Einstein, whereby you are doing the same thing over and over again, and you are expecting a different result. You are expecting a change. So you have this crowd who are heading towards a direction, and then your thinking is that once you are part of a crowd doing the same things, you are headed in the right direction without asking yourself the question of where is the crowd going to? Where does the broad way lead to? If you don't judge the crowd, if you don't judge the norm, the system, by the results they achieve, by the outcomes they get, and you follow that path because a lot of people are on that path, you are insane. You are abnormal. So being abnormal does not necessarily mean that you are not part of the larger population or the crowd. Being abnormal can also mean that you are not judging the mindset the actions of people in a larger population by the results they get, by the quality of life they live, by indicators of well-being, how much their mindset, their actions lead to improved mental health, emotional health, physical health, and longevity. If you're not judging outcomes and you're only following the crowd, you are insane. You're abnormal. Now, why is it selfish and wrong to be normal? It is because if you look at history, normal people have not been very useful in transforming human lives. If you look at history, the inventors, the innovators, those involved in creative works that brought out the electricity, the means of communication, means of transportation that are able to help us grow our food in large quantities, produce healthcare, produce medicines and advancements in healthcare. Usually, these are going to be people thinking outside the box. And you can imagine the Wright brothers telling everybody around that they were going to manufacture something to fly in the sky. They could not have been described as normal people. So abnormal people are the ones that are leading the creations of solutions to human problems, because they are usually the ones who are thinking outside the box, thinking out of the norm to find creative solutions to human problems. And when it comes to creativity, it's a very personal thing, because you are the one that has something innate in you, a gift, a talent or abilities in you, and you can see problems and you develop ideas, and through that creativity you're able to try to establish some solutions to these problems. So it is wrong and selfish to be asking permission from everybody if you can utilize your gifts, your talents and your abilities to solve human problems that can lead them out of their troubles. You should understand that it is easy to be normal. It's not difficult. You just have to follow the crowd, do what they are doing, and do the minimum to exist. But to do some creative work, some innovative work, to create solutions, to lead people out of their troubles, you must be afraid of being normal.